Hi. This question is for Mark Coleridge. It's a three-part question, so bear with me. How does the church...
I hope I can remember all three.
I'll remind you if you don't worry. How does the church in good conscience uphold the discipline of clerical celibacy when there is and has been widespread sexual abuse by the clergy and subsequent cover-ups by the church? Does the church perceive that the benefits of celibacy continue to outweigh the detriment to society and the church caused by the abuses? And finally, how does the church justify such a discipline when the Bible says that God himself states, immediately after creating man, i.e. Adam, he declared that it is not good for man to be alone?
Yeah, well, celibacy doesn't mean you're alone. It's not the same just as abstinence. I'm a celibate, and I regard my celibacy as genuinely a way of loving, as is married love or friendship. So it's not saying no to sexuality. It's a different way of living sexuality. Now, that sounds strange, but that's the reality. Now...
It is saying no to sexuality, though.
Well,
it's personal sexuality.
It's saying no to sexual activity.
Yeah.
But I still live my sexuality. I don't just put it on the shelf.
Mm. How do you live it? I mean, it's quite...
I live it as a way of self-giving.
Right.
In all kinds of...
I don't know what's happening.
I'm not sure if you're talking about what goes on behind closed doors.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about what goes on in the goldfish bowl that I inhabit as a Catholic bishop.
All right.
A pouring out of one's life, a self-giving, a kind of a living from day to day.
But seriously, I've never heard an archbishop describe that as a sexual feeling.
It involves... See, sexuality is more than sexual activity. Every cell of my body is male, and I have to live that from day to day. So I come back to the point that as I experience it and have now for many years, celibate living is not an abandonment of sexuality or a rejection. It's simply a way of living my life differently. And
okay, I'm going to bring you to the core of the question. Really, is a lot of people have made the case that celibacy creates a kind of sexual deviancy in some individuals within the church.
Sure,
and that's led to the scandals and the sexual abuse of children and so on.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, and I think many are not convinced, that celibacy is a major factor in the whole business of sexual abuse. Far and away, the major proportion of those who abuse kids are in fact married people.
That's right.
Not celibate people.
That's right.
Now, that having been said, I don't think celibacy... It could contribute to creating a certain culture that makes sexual deviance more possible. But I don't think you can trace a direct link from celibacy to sexual abuse. Now, why retain it? And look, it could be revised at some future date. I don't know. I didn't bring my crystal ball with me. But it goes back to Jesus. I mean, Jesus wasn't married. That was a very mysterious and unusual thing in a Jew of that time.
But you can't say that he was celibate.
Well, I would, in fact, yes.
The majority of his followers were married.
That's true. That's true. Given the little we know about them, yeah, they were. But I think the judgment has been made in the church, rightly or wrongly, I happen to think rightly, that celibacy, in fact, although it's lived poorly by some, and perhaps by many, is also lived very well by others and by many, and becomes an extraordinary source of spiritual fruitfulness and pastoral fruitfulness. In other words, it unleashes energies in a human being. And this is perceived not only within Christianity, but dare I say in Robina's presence, also within Buddhism and other religious traditions. So that to this point historically, the Catholic Church has made the judgment that the pros outweigh the cons.
My question, so I think there's an important question here, right? So you're saying it's not celibacy, because this has been going on a lot, right?
What?
Pedophilia in the Catholic Church in every country for a very long time. And we're not talking about, I think it's important when we talk about sexual abuse in the Catholic Church. I didn't realize until recently we're talking about rape. We're talking about raping kids. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people watching this think we're talking about,
I can assure you I know it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, though. And we're talking about rape, and it's happening in Australia, it's happening in a lot of countries, it's happening for a long time, and it's happening a lot more in the Catholic Church. And the response...
See, that last statement I would dispute. It's happening at about the same rate, I would say, but it's worse because Catholic priests have unusual access to the young, and an exceptional degree of trust is placed in the Catholic priest.
And you also have a tradition of covering it up. I mean,
well, we do. Who's we?
The Catholic Church has a tradition of covering up. And
but Josh, if I could just say, is it only the Catholic Church that has been covering up? I don't deny what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. I'm talking to you. You're the Catholic Church. If they were here, I'd be hassling them.
Okay. Well, keep hassling them.